Making sure an automatic sprinkler system is ready and able to perform in a fire emergency depends on periodic care and maintenance. In this module, we'll outline the essential tasks of maintaining fire sprinkler systems. The procedures we cover can be found in several important documents. The first is NFPA's Fire Protection Handbook, NFPA 25, the standard for the inspection, testing, and maintenance of water-based fire protection systems. The second document you should have is a pamphlet published by NFPA entitled Maintain Your Fire Sprinkler System. An automatic sprinkler system and its water supply must be maintained in order to achieve peak performance. Maintenance, in this context, includes more than testing and inspection. It also means maintaining the relationship between the protection designed and the actual hazard. Inspection and testing is intended to ensure that the design system has not been degraded. Whoever is responsible for sprinkler maintenance must also ensure the hazard has not increased or been altered in ways that will overtax the protection provided by the system. A common oversight often occurs in the construction of offices or other enclosed spaces within larger buildings. These enclosed areas are often not sprinkler protected. By the time a fire breaks out of the enclosed area, it may be so large that the fire overtaxes the building's sprinkler system, causing that system to fail. Another common maintenance-related problem is the installation of equipment or building construction that obstructs the sprinkler discharge. Following a reasonable course of sprinkler maintenance will not only result in better fire protection, but also provide the maximum value for every protection dollar you've spent. The Fire Protection Handbook defines inspection as an organized methodical procedure for determining the operating condition of devices and equipment. The handbook also provides information on the qualifications of personnel who will be responsible for fire sprinkler system maintenance and repair. Maintenance of protection involves making the inspections as well as performing any special investigations or tests bearing on the performance of the devices and equipment. Maintenance also includes taking action to repair or keep devices and equipment in dependable operating condition, as well as ensuring the proper procedures are followed by personnel responsible for the performance or use of the equipment. Both the Fire Protection Handbook and NFPA 25 clearly state that the owner or the owner's designated representative is responsible for properly maintaining the fire sprinkler system. NFPA 25 also charges the building owner or occupants with the responsibility of evaluating fire protection systems for the capability to protect new or changed uses. NFPA 25 further requires the owner or occupant to notify the authority having jurisdiction, usually the fire department, and other authorities before testing or shutting down a system or its water supply. The designation of these responsibilities in NFPA 25 is significant because the standard is referenced in the Model Fire Prevention Codes. The standard, therefore, has the force of law in those jurisdictions where the model codes are adopted. In short, not only are owners motivated by self-interest, they are legally responsible for the maintenance of their fire sprinkler systems. Inspection and tests of automatic sprinkler systems are summarized in Table 2-1 taken from NFPA 25. Inspections generally are to be scheduled on a weekly basis. These inspections are visual observations of each listed item and are intended to verify that no obvious changes have occurred in the protected facility or the sprinkler system that could prevent proper performance. Testing entails more specific actions. Testing of the system's alarm devices and the main drain are to be conducted once each quarter. The purpose of the testing is to determine if the alarm device actually produces an alarm when water is flowed. The main drain test consists of opening the main drain to the sprinkler system and observing and recording the drop in pressure. Any significant change in the pressure drop from previous tests indicates a potential change in the water supply to the sprinkler system. That change should be evaluated to determine if the effect would degrade the performance of a system in an actual fire emergency. A functional test of the automatic sprinklers is to be performed 20 years after installation and then every 10 years thereafter for fast response sprinklers, and at 50 years and every 10 years thereafter for other sprinklers. These tests should be performed by Underwriters Laboratories Incorporated or Factory Mutual. The tests involve representative samples of each type of sprinkler by temperature rating and model of sprinkler taken from each hazard area to be tested. The definition of representative sample, according to NFPA 25, is a minimum of not less than 4 sprinklers or 1% of the sprinklers represented by the test. The laboratory then tests the sprinklers and issues a report indicating whether the results were satisfactory or not. If they were unsatisfactory, the remaining sprinklers should be replaced. NFPA 25 also requires that any sprinklers manufactured prior to 1920 should be replaced. In addition, NFPA 25 stipulates that extra high-degree solder-type sprinklers, which are exposed continuously or nearly continuously to the maximum allowed temperature of 300 degrees Fahrenheit, are to be replaced at 5-year intervals. This is due to the solder migrating into the link to form a new alloy having an extremely high melting point, thereby effectively preventing a sprinkler from operating. Here we've summarized the inspection, testing, and maintenance of fire pumps, which can be found in Table 5-1.1 of NFPA 25. The inspections are further described in Table 5-2.2. These inspections are intended to determine that the pump is in operating condition and not damaged in any way. The weekly and annual test procedures are further described in 2 more tables, Table 5-3.2.4 and Table 5-3.3.2. During the weekly tests, the pump is to be operated. It is permissible to test under no flow conditions. If the pump has a diesel engine driver, then the engine is to be started and operated and the pump run for a minimum of 30 minutes. An automatic weekly test timer can be used for this purpose. Automatic recording devices check the performance of the pump and its driver. This can be useful to verify with your insurance carrier that proper maintenance procedures are being performed and that the equipment is performing as required. Various authorities may require inspections and have the ability to perform them. Insurance carriers will typically require that the inspections and tests required of NFPA 25 be performed and that documentation of those tests be made available for them. The highly protected risk fire insurance carriers, such as industrial risk insurers and Factory Mutual, may even witness annual fire pump tests. Fire departments will often require that inspections and tests be documented and that the documentation be made available to them. Some fire departments also witness annual fire pump tests. An effective and economical means of ensuring that the required inspections are performed is to contract with a sprinkler contractor for the service. An advantage of such contracts is that should emergency service be needed for the system, the sprinkler contractor will be available at negotiated rates. Central station service companies, such as ADT and Wells Fargo, can supervise the electronic signals of the sprinkler system at its water supply. Fire insurance companies will often give an insurance premium credit where such protection is provided. In some cases, the local code will require such protection unless full-time service, equivalent to a proprietary protective signaling system, is provided on site. The Central Station Service provides full-time supervision of the system, notifies the local fire department and the owner of appropriate signals, and documents each signal. The fire pump inspection, testing, and maintenance schedule is summarized in Table 5-5.1 from NFPA 25. Appendix B of NFPA 25 contains a series of sample inspection forms that are useful in testing and inspecting automatic sprinkler systems and fire pumps. These forms are provided by the National Fire Sprinkler Association as well as the Automatic Fire Sprinkler Association. Care and maintenance of an automatic sprinkler system and its water supply are essential in order for the system to achieve its intended benefit. Owners and occupants incur obligations to maintain the system in order to maintain insurance credit. Such maintenance is also often written into a municipality's fire prevention code, thereby imposing a legal responsibility. Owners and occupants of buildings having automatic sprinkler systems should be familiar with the maintenance responsibilities imposed by the Fire Prevention Code. If they choose to maintain the system with their own staff, the maintenance personnel should be familiar with the Fire Prevention Code and documents such as NFPA 25. As an alternative to an in-house program, owners may make arrangements with an automatic sprinkler system contractor to maintain the system. In any case, the owner and occupants are responsible for evaluating any changes in the hazard to determine if increases in protection are needed.